From political shifts and economic updates to viral social moments and trending pop culture, we've got you covered with all the information you need to stay ahead. Whether it's breaking news, the latest from social media, or a deep dive into what's really happening on the global stage, you'll find it right here, delivered fast, clear, and to the point.
You know, certain voices, they just stick with you. You hear them, and you instantly know who it is, what they represent. James Earl Jones, he's definitely one of those voices.
Oh, absolutely. It's iconic, isn't it? That depth, that presence.
Right. And going through his IMDb bio for this deep dive, honestly, I was surprised by how much I didn't know about him, about the man behind the voice.
It's funny how that happens, right? Some voices, they become so familiar, so ingrained in our culture, we almost forget there's a whole person, a whole life story behind them.
Yeah, like we think we know them just from their voice. But with James Earl Jones, his story's pretty remarkable, particularly when you learn that he struggled with stuttering as a child.
Wow. It's hard to even imagine, right? This man with a voice that could shake a room.
Yeah.
He had to overcome that. It really makes you think about what it means to find your voice, literally and figuratively.
It's true. We use that phrase, find your voice, but for him, it had a whole other layer. And it says here he found solace in dramatic lessons of all things.
Isn't that interesting? You wonder if there was something about that kind of structured environment, focusing on breath, on projection, that maybe helped him manage the stuttering.
It's like turning a weakness into a strength, finding control in something that probably felt anything but controlled.
Absolutely. And you have to think that journey, that struggle, it had to shape his performances. This is a man who understands the power, the weight of every single word.
No doubt. And speaking of powerful performances, we got to talk about Darth Vader. Though it's interesting, this bio mentions George Lucas originally pictured Orson Welles in the role.
Which makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Welles had that booming quality, that larger-than-life presence.
Definitely. But there's something about Jones's voice that just became inseparable from Vader.
It speaks to the power of voice acting, how a certain voice can just resonate with the character, with the emotions you want to evoke. It's more than reading lines, it's embodying them. And Jones, he nailed it.
And you know what gets me? This bio, it mentions that when James Earl Jones first saw that line, the Luke, I am your father line, he thought it was a lie. He didn't think Vader was actually telling the truth.
Really? That changes how you see the delivery, doesn't it?
It makes you wonder, right? Like, imagine if he delivered it like, oh yeah, by the way, Luke, big news, I'm your father. Didn't want to make a big deal about it or anything.
It wouldn't have been the same. It's that underlying, almost like Vader's wrestling with it himself that makes the line work. Jones brought so much to it, even just with his voice. Amazing.
It's true, and what's even more interesting, it says here he actually declined screen credit for those first 2 Star Wars films. Said he didn't think his part was big enough to warrant it.
Wow. Talk about humility. You don't see that too often, especially in Hollywood.
It makes you think, even without his name right there on the screen, his voice, it became Darth Vader. Nobody else could have done it.
He became part of the whole Star Wars, galaxy.
Yeah.
And with his passing, it feels different, like we lost a part of it.
We did. And it's not just Star Wars, Look at his filmography. Dr. Strangelove, Coming to America, theater productions, you name it. He wasn't afraid to try anything.
It speaks to his range, his talent. This wasn't a one-trick pony, He was the real deal.
Totally. And you have to wonder, those struggles he had early on with the stuttering, did that impact how he approached all these different roles?
You could make a case for that. Think about it. When you have to fight to be heard, to make every word count, it changes your relationship with language, with how you express yourself.
It's like he could make you, feel the words, not just hear them.
It's that thing, that intangible something that separates a good voice from an unforgettable one. Right?
Yeah.
It really is. And it's got me thinking about all the voices, not just famous ones, that have made an impact, shaped our experiences.
Oh, definitely. Like the people who you remember, not for what they said, but how they said it.
Exactly. Your parents, your teachers, that friend who could always make you laugh just with their voice.
It's like we carry those voices with us. They're part of who we are.
That's such a good way to put it. Our own personal soundtrack.
And, when you think about it like that, it's pretty powerful how a voice, just a voice, can connect us like that, make us feel less alone.
It's the human element, right? Something that goes beyond words on a page.
Absolutely.
Well, we've covered a lot of ground today. James Earl Jones, what a life, what a voice. But now we want to hear from you. What are some of your favorite James Earl Jones roles? What is it about his voice that you'll never forget? Let us know.
Thanks for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to smash that like button. It helps the channel. And if you're new here or just haven't yet, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of our future content. Oh, and don't forget to ring the bell icon so you'll be the first to know when we drop something new. Trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming up.